Now, one of these days, someone is going to answer that question. He's going to keep asking, and one of these days, someone is going to tell him what he's going to do.
Personally, I thought Daryl's warmed up to James over the last few years.
I had a rather testy exchange in the draft a couple of years ago. So the next pick belongs to the Buffalo Sabres. This is the pick they got from San Jose in the Brian Campbell trade at the deadline. So Buffalo, which is already picked once today.
They took a big defenseman guard. You know, when you look at what they were able to do in getting Tyler Myers, they put the big body there, and Darcy Regere's probably thinking, do we go defense again, or do we go to Nicholas Deschamps from Chicoutimi? Because Deschamps is a big, good two-way forward, very well prepared. He's not that far away from being NHL ready. Montreal Canadiens talked about taking him with a 25th pick overall, so this is right in the wheelhouse. Buffalo at 26.
Now, I wonder if they look at goaltending. Ryan Miller is a year away from unrestricted free agency in Buffalo. There's all kinds of talk that if Miller were to play it out to unrestricted free agency, he's a Michigan native. Of course, Detroit has Dominic Hasek, who just retired. They got Chris Osgood, who's getting older. But Ryan Miller would be a perfect fit for Detroit. If Buffalo were to lose Ryan Miller, what a devastating blow that would be.
If they go goaltender, interesting decision. They've got a Swedish goaltender in Jakob Markstrom, the top-rated goalie, is still on the board. They've also got Thomas McCollum. Thomas McCollum lives in Sanborn, New York. Well, he can walk out his front door, go for a quick jog, and he can be looking over the Niagara Gorge near Niagara University and right down to Buffalo. So it'd be interesting to see whether they decide they're going to go for, if they go for a goaltender, whether they would stick close to home or they would go to Sweden. Markstrom is probably the more recognizable of the two, the higher ranked goalie of the two, so we'll see what they do.
They also have a very good Swedish goaltender named Jonas Enroth, who played for the Swedes in the World Junior Championship, so would there be some Swedish synergy with Enroth bringing along? So while we continue to talk about what Buffalo might do here, Darren Dreger, what's going on the floor?
Yeah, Gord, we're going to watch the Anaheim Ducks, and General Manager Brian Burke, he's now locked in a conversation with Doug Risebrough of the Minnesota Wild. In a brief exchange with Brian Burke a short while ago, I asked him, just as a follow-up, what he was going to do with 28, and he said it would depend on the next two picks. So Brian Burke is still up to something there.
All right, thank you. We'll keep an eye on Brian Burke, who always does like to make a splash at the draft. And there's Lindy Ruff, who will make his way up and make Buffalo's next pick. We're talking about the fact that Buffalo's win over Boston on the final Saturday of the season, off the 4th spot in the draft. But we did say the Sabres do have a very good record in the draft, and there are a number of good young players still in their organization. By the way, their Rochester affiliation ends now after, what, 28 years, I believe, is their affiliate. Florida has taken over the Rochester affiliation, so a bad split between Buffalo and its American League team, and what was a great relationship.
Buffalo selects for the Medicine Hat Tigers, Western Hockey League, Tyler Ennis.
Ooh. They go small and fast, and a whole lot of heart. Tyler Ennis was rated in the 2nd round by most people, Bob, and Tyler Ennis is a gamer, very well coached.
This is the first player, Bob, that you had rated outside the 1st round to go in the top 30.
And again, a very small player, 5'8.5", 162 pounds. This is not a player with a big frame. This is what they call one of the tiny tots from today. But very quick, very skilled, absolutely fearless. There are some people who believe he just might be the kind of guy that beats the odds at that height and that weight to play in the National Hockey League. 43 goals in 70 games. He's more of a one-way, one-dimensional, offensive-type hockey player, but he does that part of the game extremely well.
They just wanted to keep it familiar. Tyler. They had Tyler Myers first and then Tyler Ennis with their 2nd pick in the 1st round. It's amazing now. It's the long or the short of it, really, when you think about Tyler Myers being at, what, about 6'7", and then this young man at about 5'7".
Comparable style to Cliff Ronning, Whirling Dervish, who was so successful in the National Hockey League, and one of those little guys that beat the odds at a time in the National Hockey League where it was really difficult for a small player to make it. What we're seeing today is very clearly a lot of these small players, very quick, very skilled, very fast, again reflecting the new age game.
So Buffalo makes its 2nd pick of this 1st round. By the way, teams without 1st round picks this year include Florida, Colorado, Dallas, San Jose, and Pittsburgh. All of them traded them away.
Well, let's be fair to Florida. They picked up 2 first-round picks when they got Keith Ballard and Nicholas Boynton to help their defense. They also got the 49th pick in the draft when they traded away Ole Jokinen. So even though they don't have picks, they made their team a ton better. I love what the Florida Panthers did today. They knew they had to move a disgruntled Ole Jokinen. They did that. Phoenix made a responsible trade, but Florida made a real good trade.
Well, the Sabres lost Brian Campbell to trade. This is the man they got with the pick. Okay, we're back with the National Hockey League entry draft right after this.